Opinion on Public Access TV, Channel 18. My name is Dirk Keller. This Natalie attired gentleman is Pat White. This handsome young devil is Earl Murphy. And look who's back. It's Bud Supple in the flesh. Bud, welcome back.
Glad to be back.
You got a nice little suntan going on.
Yeah, I got a little. But it's nothing like Iowa.
Yeah.
No, really it is. During basketball season and tournament, I mean, it's nothing like Iowa. There's just, they don't have that down in Florida. They don't follow their. I watched a ball game, a high school ball game, and I bet there wasn't 100 people at the ball game.
Really?
What kind of attendance does Miami get? They're
Terrible. Very
like
terrible.
second now?
Yeah.
What are they? Is it less than 10,000?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, way.
got a
They're
little
lucky
tiny
sometimes to get 3,000, 4,000.
Really?
Yeah, it's really rough on them. It's
They just love baseball, don't they?
yes, but even baseball, or Major League Baseball, they don't draw at all.
Is that right?
Right now, the college teams will draw, mainly because there's a lot of teams from up north that come down there and play these.
That's right.
Miami and those, so they'll get a draw, and bring a lot of people down with them.
How about the Heat? Do they fill their place up?
Yes,
think
the
they
Heat
do,
does,
yeah.
yeah. They do. Of course, you're talking about down to 10, 12,000 people then, you know.
I
But
think the
it's,
Heat draw better than that. I think they do about 17, 18 a game.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they don't have to have, like, the baseball, 50,
Right.
60,000 people in there. But when you
Well-
start getting those big numbers, even their football doesn't draw much. down
Dolphins?
there. The Dolphins,
Well, the Dolphins haven't been good in a long time either.
no. But, you know, you'd think in the fall they'd start drawing, but they,
I know the Tampa Bay for baseball, their attendance is terrible. It's just a marvel that they're able to keep going.
They play in a dump,
Well,
indoors.
it's really dreary.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the White Sox ain't there anymore, but the White Sox used to draw really good down
For
in
spring
Florida.
training?
For spring training.
Yeah. Well, the Cardinals draw really well for
Yes.
spring training.
And they're up, because they're up pretty north
Are they?
of the Miami area and down there, you know. No, the Cardinals probably, I would say now, they're probably the number one drawer
Oh, yeah.
down there. I mean, they really draw them in down there.
Well, I'll tell you who draws good crowds lately. The Iowa Hawkeye men's team.
Don't they?
Sold out last Sunday for Minnesota, the arch rival. And the place was, the place was buzzing. It was really fun to be there.
They're still number one team, as far as I'm concerned, that should be our,
Minnesota?
yeah,
Yeah.
they should be the,
They are our
What do they call it?
traditional rival. They are
our tradition, that's right.
our big-time number one rival. And they'll let you know about it because who hates Iowa? They hate Iowa. And I didn't hear any of that at Carver Hawkeye Arena, and I did see a few smattering of Gopher fans here and there. But it was Iowa fans that packed the place Sunday afternoon. It was a lot of fun, very electric atmosphere. And then the game started. Didn't start out too well.
Not a bad start.
You know, it was 21-5, and my son, my 11-year-old boy Paul, looks at me and says, "It's not fair. They're making all their shots, and we're not making any."
We weren't getting any calls.
No, and I explained to him, and I've told him this before. I said, "Look, the fouls and the made shots and the free throws, everything evens out over the course of the game." And from that point on, 21-5, down 16 points, the Hawkeyes just went on I think it was a 60-30 some run.
Well, switching over that zone
Yes.
made a big difference. Minnesota didn't know what to do when we first started.
And I
we
found
got
that
the
hard to
ball.
believe.
Yeah.
I couldn't either.
How could they not figure out the zone?
Well, and not only it impacted Minnesota, but it somehow impacted our offense. All of a sudden,
Right.
we were on offense. We're moving the ball,
That's right.
screening better. Just totally changed the game.
A lot of fun.
Mbakwe, who's really very good, and he'd just been taking us apart, suddenly went into a shell.
All right.
He made his first 2 free throws, and that's when my son started complaining. I think that was when it was 21-5, and he comes to the line after that in the student section, which was filled. They started to get on him. They started chanting DUI because he's had a
Oh, that one, I couldn't make
Oh,
out
I
what the
didn't know
chant
that.
was.
Is that what it was?
Well, that was the first thing they chanted. And he started missing every free throw.
I didn't know
And so towards the end of the game, when he kept missing, the crowd started chanting, "He's still drunk. He's still
Oh, my
drunk." And I had to ask because I didn't understand what they were saying either. And my son told me he's still drunk. Mbakwe, who's he's a 24-year-old.
He's playing his 6th year.
Yeah. He's a big man.
Started at Marquette.
Yeah, and he's also been in a lot of big trouble, not just drunk driving, but theft and stalking, and I think some assault charges. He's had a lot of issues.
Well, that's one of the games we shouldn't have lost up there.
Oh boy, that
We
was
go
a
down what we
pitiful loss.
lost. We could easily have 10 wins.
But we don't.
Even turned 2 of those around, at Minnesota, at Purdue.
Yep.
In Wisconsin, double overtime.
They're a good team. Minnesota, Purdue, they're on the way down. And as Pat said, those 2 right there, we should have won. No ifs, ands, or cigars about it. Those games should have been won. You could even throw in the Indiana game.
Yeah,
that was
I
early.
don't feel so bad about that one. I mean, we gave them all they wanted.
Well, we did, and
Not holding my breath when we go back there in
No.
a couple of weeks, but
but you know what? All of a sudden, we find our Hawkeye men's basketball team with a 16-7 record, 6-7 in the Big Ten, with 5 games remaining at Nebraska. Purdue has to come here. Nebraska has to come here. Illinois has to come here, and then we have to go to Indiana.
Right.
And not necessarily in that order, by the way. Those are at least 4 very winnable games. I'm worried about at Nebraska because they play everybody tough at home.
Well, it sounds like we're not going to get that game either.
No TV.
No TV.
well, no TV as we tape today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody will be working on it.
I'm thinking MediaCom Connections 22. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, they say they won't be able to get the equipment in there, and they're not going to take it in there earlier. Now, you have to remember
Big Ten Network.
Lincoln,
The Big Ten Network.
well, and also the networks. Or ESPN2, it's supposed to be on.
Well, that ain't
They're
going to
not gonna
happen
go.
now.
No, the networks won't put us, they're scheduled.
No, but, and they're supposed to get heavier snow in Lincoln than we are
Yep.
here.
I'd forgotten that we had a men's basketball game postponed against Northwestern a couple, 6 years ago?
Yeah, that's about right, 6 years ago.
So that would have been maybe Licklider's first year. I just don't remember that at all.
We had one against Michigan State that for a short while in the morning there was discussion of a postponement, but they played it. Somehow the university crews emptied the parking lots of 13 or 14 inches of snow, and the game went on as scheduled, and the refs got here, and Michigan State somehow got here. I guess they were in town before the
I
snow.
remember that.
Yeah, I think that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I can remember when Bob Oldus and
Yeah,
Don Farnsworth had to do a game because the referees couldn't get in.
yeah.
Was that
At
Indiana?
that time,
That
you
was
just
Indiana.
had to.
Yeah.
Was it Indiana?
Yeah,
Isaiah
at the
Thomas.
field house.
Okay.
I remember that.
We won it.
We won.
Oh,
You betcha.
Oldest said he'd see to that.
we didn't have him back.
I remember scraping ice off the sidewalks before that game.
Okay.
At the old field house. And I just remember what a miserable job it was. Oh, that ice wouldn't come up.
And the farms wouldn't take anything off anymore.
Wouldn't that be a great one-time opportunity?
Oh, I know. I'll never
What'd you say,
forget
Mr. Knight? Well, the men really, it was just marvelous how they came back against Minnesota.
It's marvelous how they held them to a few points.
Yeah, and just shut down any of their go-to people.
And once they shut them down, they kept them shut
They
down.
did. They put the foot on the throat and ended it. It was really very rewarding. And then
Who did they beat just before they come down? They beat somebody
they
big.
beat Wisconsin,
That's what I thought,
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
but I don't remember where that game was played.
That was at Minnesota.
Okay. Well, I'm not impressed with Minnesota. From what I've read, Tubby, the head coach, is in trouble.
Yeah, there's, I can't tell you my source for this, but there's a pretty active discussion about Tubby not being brought back next year, and the new AD trying to make a run at Shaka Smart
Yep,
or
from Virginia Tech.
the guy at
Or,
Butler,
where's
Brad
Shaq?
Stevens, Virginia Commonwealth,
Commonwealth, yeah, VCA, VCU.
who he thinks he's got a connection to.
Well, there could be some legs to that, Pat, because there's a whole lot going on in the conference that VCU belongs to, which is
Right.
the Atlantic 10.
Right.
And it looks like this year is it for the Atlantic 10. And basically it's going to be split up into two groups, the Catholic school group and the others. And VCU doesn't really fit into either one.
But both Smart and Stevens have turned down lots more money than they're now making several times in
Yeah.
the last 2 to 3 years. So we'll see what happens.
Well, it's, yeah.
The conventional view of Tubby is he can recruit really well, but he's not the greatest game time coach in the world.
Does he have a son on his coaching staff?
I can't tell you that. I don't
There was
know.
a guy looked an awful lot like a younger version of Tubby roaming the sidelines
I
with
don't
him.
know.
No, I've never heard of it.
I hadn't either, but if you do know the answer to that, please give Bud Supel a call after midnight tonight on his home line.
Speaking of coaching, it's now clear Fran McCaffrey has done just an extraordinary job of putting a cohesive team on the court. I mean, one of the things that we've debated and Iowa fans have worried about is he's playing 10 players. How can you do that? How can you develop cohesion when you're going way beyond the normal 7 or 8? And he's done it. He makes substitutions that work out wonderfully. There are times, and the Minnesota game was another one, where he had what really is his second team in there, and they're playing the heck out of the game. He's just done a masterful job of keeping everybody motivated, finding a role for everybody.
It hasn't been in the papers, but I heard his kids, both of them, are good basketball players.
Well, the 8th grader, Connor, is, for
Yeah.
sure. And I'm sure the other kids are going to fall in line. Big kids.
Yes.
6'3", 8th grader.
Is that
Well,
right?
he caused a big stir by visiting Cedar Rapids Xavier
Yeah, I
for
noticed
a
it.
get acquainted night, and I think it's clear that they're nowhere near a decision yet on
Oh, of course not.
where he's going to go to school.
No, and I don't think he's going.
There's no way they're going to Xavier. That's just too
The
difficult.
one that really made me happy is when May come in.
Yes. I wanted to
You
talk
know,
about
that-
Eric May a little
That is
bit.
heart. He was all heart
Oh, he's
that
playing
day.
really well.
Oh, I know.
You darn right.
You
It's
darn right.
wonderful.
Yeah.
He's doing what
So
seniors
happy.
do at the end of their
Yeah,
college
that's right.
careers. Matt Gatens just went to a whole nother level last year. The year before that, Jared Cole stepped up his game late in the season, his senior year, and made a big difference. And now we've got Eric May from Dubuque Waller
made so-
stepping up.
So many good plays the other day.
Oh, it's not just scoring baskets or big rebounds
That's
or
right.
slam dunks, but he is coming off the bench with energy. He's playing great defense. I love to watch his mid-court steals because you know what's
Right.
coming next.
The crowd is just on the edge of
Oh,
its
yeah.
seat hoping he's going to get a steal and a breakaway.
Yeah.
Oh, he can put it down.
Like nobody else on the team.
Matter of fact, the coach said at his press conference, he's playing the best ball of all of them.
And this is the time of year when you really get to enjoy the seniors,
Yeah.
not only for the last time, but I think most cases at the peak of their performance, at the peak of their college career. And that's what we're seeing with Eric May. He's injury-free for once. He's coming off the bench fresh, and he's got teammates that look up to him because he is a senior leader, the only senior leader on the team. So kudos to Eric May. I hope it. I just, right now it's not just that every game really counts, but there's a whole lot on the line every game, and you can look to a guy like Eric May to really spark this team, if not carry them.
But the guy who really won the game, as far as I'm concerned, was our guard.
Marble?
no, the guard,
Gasell?
Gensel.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yes, because he really brings the ball up the court the right way.
Yeah. I sensed he was getting tired in that game. He was getting worked hard
That's
by those
right.
Minnesota guards.
But now I think he's the one turning it around on that three-pointer that he come around the corner. After we went all the way up after that.
Well, remember McCabe threw
Yeah,
up
he's
that
another
prayer
one.
of a three-pointer as the clock wound down, and it went in. And that's really when things started going in the right direction for Iowa. We don't hit that three-pointer. I don't know where we are, but it was a nice spark. And again, very fulfilling to be at that game.
Can we beat Nebraska?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
But that's what we said last year when they came in here and beat us, so.
But then we went down there and beat
Again,
them.
But I think we can beat him twice.
Fran's approach, and you hear it coming from all of the players, is they understand they better play one game at a time, just concentrate on the next one. In fact, Fran, in the post-game interview after Minnesota, he hadn't even looked ahead to where he knew whether the game was Wednesday or Thursday. He was
That's what he said.
confused.
That's funny. Well, Nebraska is an interesting team. They don't have a great record, but they play the Big Ten teams tough on their home court, and that's a brand-new place, isn't
Yeah.
it? Second year maybe for that arena?
Bob Devaney Center.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that?
No, I haven't been there.
Haven't been in it, but everybody says it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, Nebraska's got a guy on their team, 6'10". I think he's Mexican.
It's the whitest body in the league.
Oh, yes.
He looks the least likely to be a Big Ten basketball player of anyone I've seen in quite some time, but he is
He's
effective.
Very, very nimble, handles the ball really well. Nice
6'10".
touch.
I'm going to say he's 3 bills. He's got to be 300 pounds.
Oh, yes.
Rebound.
There's no question he's at least 300.
He rebounds. He gets up and down the floor. He doesn't look
Yes.
pretty doing it, but
they
he
rest.
does it.
They rest him.
He looks like somebody you'd see playing for Cornell or Co. or something.
Careful.
Now switching
you
the
know what
game, is
year
that going to help us? or
I
hurt us?
think he's a JUCO transfer. I don't remember him being on the team last year,
I
so
don't
he
either.
must be a junior.
We'd remember if he,
Oh, yeah.
if he was on the
The
team.
first Nebraska game I watched, I looked at my TV. I
Yeah.
What channel am I on? I thought this was Big Ten Network. That is Nebraska. But the guy's no slouch.
I thought he was, went to the wrong sport.
Yeah.
I thought he should be a football player.
Well, he looks like he might be a professional wrestler, one of those all-star wrestlers. But he's all business, and
They've got a new coach.
yeah.
They're rebuilding their team.
Yeah.
Probably take them a couple of years.
Well, let's slow down that rebuilding process. The game is Saturday at 1 o'clock. We don't know if there'll be TV or not. Just stay tuned to whatever you follow, and word will get out there. Right after the men's game, and before I go to the women's game, the Hawkeye men's team had a couple of recruits in the crowd, and that was a great game for recruits to attend. They had Peter Jock from Des Moines, who I got to see kind of up close. Good-looking, good-sized kid, but also with him,
He's 6'6", isn't he?
6'6" or 7.
Okay.
Who knows?
All right.
Sitting with him was a junior out of Marion Catholic High School in the Chicago area. Well, I think it's actually in Chicago. His name is Tyler Ulis. Ulis. He is 5 feet 7 inches tall. Three-star point guard prospect. I've seen video of the kid, and Fran's already offered him. He wants him, and he was here. That was his first visit to Carver Hawkeye. And I read Tom Kakert, our friend from HawkeyeReport.com, interviewed him, and the kid just glowed about the visit and the connections he has with Coach Fran, and how comfortable he felt on campus, in Carver Hawkeye, at the practice facility, with the team. He said everybody was great. His dad came with him, and he mentioned that it's important, wherever he ends up, that his parents are going to be able to watch him play.
Yeah. Okay.
So, 3.5 hours, give or take. I think that fits the bill. We'll see. But really good timing for the
Is he a
Hawkeyes.
good three-pointer?
He is. I'm telling you, the kid is cat quick. And if you watch the video of him, you'll understand. He just he couldn't be stopped. He's got so many different moves and the ability to create space. So he gets the three-pointer up. He drives the lane and kind of jumps backward and gets the 6-footer in the hole. Good shooting range. So anyway, that was good. What may have been even better was the Iowa women's game at, I don't know what Purdue was ranked at the time.
I think they were 18th.
18th, yeah. And a team that you know had the Hawkeye women targeted for revenge because Iowa beat them here
Yes.
when they were ranked and Iowa wasn't.
Well, this is the first time we beat one over there for a long time.
Oh, yeah. I forget how many years.
I think it was 1998 was the last one.
Okay.
That's a long time to go winless at Mackey Arena.
We came close a couple times.
Well, Pat, what a game. What a turnaround for the Hawkeye women.
Really was. Sam Logic was just unbelievable. 26 points, a career high for her. And she drove to the basket. We didn't turn the ball over a lot. She didn't take bad shots.
Did she get injured?
No.
Somebody
Well,
got-
she did, at one point she rolled an ankle,
Okay,
but she didn't ever come out.
I know, but.
She's a tough gal.
There was, they stopped play when she got hurt, and I think maybe there was a media timeout, and by the time play resumed, she was back
She's a
in.
keeper.
She made a couple threes, free throws, rebounded, assists.
Yes,
And she struggled with free throws lately.
Yeah, but she was on the mark.
She just wasn't going to be denied.
No.
Just amazing. This team had lost 5 games in a row. And that all started the day they got ranked for the first time this year.
Yep.
And now you look at their resume, the Hawkeye resume, and the women have is it 6-1 record?
7-1.
7-1 record against ranked teams. 2-0 on the road against ranked teams. I think that's going to serve
Unfortunately,
them
we
well.
play another ranked team Sunday that's pretty darn good.
At Nebraska.
But
That game's going to be on ESPN2, correct?
Well, why can't the boys then? If they're coming in?
ESPN2.
Why can't they bring that in for the boys' game?
I'm sorry, it's on the Big Ten Network.
that makes,
The women's game will be Sunday, 1 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. What?
Why don't they come in there for Saturday's game then?
well, they don't have room on their schedule. Even if they can
that's
get
what-
their.
yeah.
They've got
I
two.
see. It's not the
ESPN
weather that's
No.
keeping them out,
ESPN
okay.
is booked back in
Yeah,
September,
right, okay.
October. They schedule themselves every night.
And the Big Ten Network's got 2 women's games on Saturday.
Right.
Here's something that I think you'll all find interesting. On Saturday, other than the Iowa men's game, there's no other men's basketball game on anywhere
On a
on
Saturday.
Saturday.
And this one wasn't supposed to be.
No Big Ten game, yeah.
Why?
Because I'll tell you why. It gets back to money, like everything else. But ESPN has contracts and commitments with all these other conferences, all these other schools, and they're going to put those games on Saturday because they control the schedules, if you will, for the Big Ten. So they can't get the ACC or the Big East to move their games to Sunday. They don't have the power. So, they don't have the contract commitment. But they do with the Big Ten, so they move us.
What do they get for a game?
Don't know.
Average out, do you know?
I don't know. Here's the advertising guy.
Well,
Okay,
they pay each Big Ten school roughly $20 million for football and basketball and everything
And
else.
going up.
And it'll go up every year.
The projection right now is $25 million for each school.
Yeah.
And it's expected to go higher than that with the addition of Rutgers and Maryland because
Yeah,
of the
okay.
cable systems in New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Virginia will pick up the Big Ten network and sell advertising out there.
Well, if you do the math real quick, you figure $25 million per team, 12 teams, that's just south of $300 million. And I'm guessing they're going to probably, I'm guessing they probably make close to $1 billion all told, football, basketball, everything else.
So the same team that doesn't win a game in the Big Ten gets that same amount.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the Big Ten's all about, equal
Yeah.
share. Even if you don't go to a bowl game, you get
Right, I knew
the
that.
bowl money.
I didn't know.
Now, one of the things to keep an eye on, Big Ten is traditionally equal share, but pretty soon the Big Ten is going to decide whether to play 9 or 10 football games. And if they decide on 9, that means you're going to have, every other year, you only have 4 home Big Ten games. So there'll be a little imbalance. And one of the problems that comes with that is budgets. So there's going to be discussion about if they settle on 9, the Big Ten will find a way to offset the lack of that 5th Big Ten home game by giving the school that doesn't have the home game money to make up for it. So they'll veer a little bit off the equal distribution.
Do you think they'll ever take a home game away from Michigan and Ohio State?
What do you mean?
No, they're going
Have
to.
them have 4 games?
Oh, yeah, no.
It'd have to be everybody.
It'll be everybody.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'll have to see that when it
uh,
comes.
under discussion, the league alignments are going to change. And one of the things on the table is that Michigan and Ohio State go into the same division,
Yep. Which they should.
unlike the discussion that took place when they went
Right.
into leaders and legends.
And it sounds like either Purdue or Michigan State would come over to the,
Michigan State wants out of
Right.
the Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan division and wants to come with us.
yep.
We have winning percentage against,
Yeah, we
Michigan State.
play pretty good against
Well, we
Michigan
have
State.
recently.
Well, now here's the other, and I was going to bring this up later, but now's as good a time as any. The other part of the equation with the Big Ten expansion that includes Rutgers and Maryland is that yesterday it was leaked that the Big Ten and the University of North Carolina, the Tar Heels, have come to an agreement, and that an invitation is forthcoming to North Carolina to leave the ACC, which would pretty much destroy the ACC.
Yeah.
Because Maryland's already leaving the ACC.
that's not a rumor, that's a true thing, isn't it?
Well,
It hasn't been announced.
technically, it's
No, but
still
they
at the
mentioned,
rumor
I heard it
stage. But
mentioned.
If you were
Will they
looking
come
at
to
what
the
the
Big
Big Ten
Ten?
was doing,
Yes.
In a
North
heartbeat.
Carolina?
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
Yes.
Jim Delaney is out there aggressively.
That'd be
What he
good.
wants is the Southeast/Atlanta TV market.
Yeah,
So he's been
what
sending
it's all
overtures
about.
to North
what it's
Carolina,
about.
Duke,
Yeah.
Georgia
Georgia Tech.
Florida State.
And Virginia.
Yeah, and he wants 2 more teams.
Yeah. And North Carolina's and basically what Jim Delaney wants is the best of the best. He not just sports, but academics. North Carolina is a
Who's going to get Notre Dame?
possibly
Well, the ACC has them right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, they do?
right, and then
Not for football,
Oh, that's what I meant.
for
right.
everything but football. They still want to be independent.
And if the ACC spins out and dissipates, especially with Maryland and North Carolina leaving, and the very real possibility of the University of Virginia leaving the ACC and coming to the Big Ten. Speculation is that if North Carolina accepts, Virginia will be offered and will accept. There's some speculation about Georgia Tech because they provide, as you mentioned, more TV homes.
If Delaney wants to go to 16, which he apparently does, he's got to find 2 more.
Virginia, one of the top colleges, universities in the country as far as education. And again, the top school in the state, like North Carolina, top school in the state. That's why I don't think Georgia Tech gets it, because education-wise, they very well may be.
Well, Virginia makes a little more sense in terms of travel and budget.
Right.
They're closer to Maryland.
And they're
So
closer
So
to
then
New
you'll have
Jersey.
8 and 8.
Yes.
Yeah, eventually.
Otherwise, will we play our 8 teams? Or not?
We'd play 7 in our division and either 2 or 3 in the other division.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you would play some.
Yeah, you play some in the other division. But almost all of the scenarios will put Wisconsin back in with us,
Right.
Yeah.
And Illinois,
playing every year.
finally.
And most of the scenarios put Illinois in with us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Minnesota, Wisconsin,
Right,
Nebraska.
there's 4 great teams to play every week.
It'd basically be the Illinois-Indiana border again, but they'd have to bring either Indiana or possibly Purdue.
When
to
does
the
that
west
start?
side. 2014.
14.
Wow.
But who knows about North Carolina?
Same year we're reseeded.
Yeah.
What?
The same year we're reseeded.
The reseeding.
Yeah,
getting-
yeah.
2 more, Rutgers and Maryland start in 2014.
Right.
It's probably, 2014 would probably be a little soon for North Carolina and Virginia or whoever the 15th and 16th teams turn out to be.
But the future is becoming pretty clear as far as conference goes. It's going to be just 3 or 4 super
Well,
conferences.
where's this going to leave Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Well,
It might leave them in trouble in basketball and other sports because the prediction is that if North Carolina and Virginia leave the ACC, and maybe even North Carolina and Georgia Tech, it would collapse the ACC. There just wouldn't be enough left. And as Pat said, there are rumors that the Big Ten has talked to Florida State. Who else did you mention?
Georgia Tech
And yeah,
and Duke.
Duke, that was the other one.
But the conventional wisdom is that Delaney isn't even talking to Notre Dame, that
Yeah,
he's
they're-
twice
He's,
Right.
Yep.
I'm
have
glad.
offered Big Ten membership to Notre Dame,
glad
twice been
They
turned
can
down.
play
and
St. Ambrose.
That are the Big Ten's attitude is, well, we're moving on.
Yeah.
yeah.
Big Ten's not an option. for
And
you.
Notre Dame just isn't willing to be an equal partner
No, I know.
with anybody,
No.
much like Texas.
They're
I
too
still
good for that.
Yeah, they're too good for us.
Yeah.
And
they're
I
too
still
good
say
for-
it's a shame
for Alabama.
Missouri didn't
Well, they
get in
don't
the
want to
Big
lose
Ten.
all those games.
Sure.
They'd get beat. They
right.
wouldn't have a winning season.
That's right.
Missouri still is a mystery because they appeared to want to join.
Yep.
And after talking to him and romancing him, the Big Ten, Jim Delaney,
Gave it to Nebraska.
Told him no.
I wish Nebraska hadn't been offered. I wish it had been Missouri. I think it just
I wish it
made.
had been Notre Dame.
Well,
Well, they offered
I know
to
it. I
Notre
said,
Dame. But
Yeah.
Notre Dame,
it would have really enhanced the conference.
But
to
think
have
of all
Notre
the TVs, you know, and they're going to get out of Rutgers and Maryland, and
Dame. Yeah,
that's going to bring a lot of. I mean, they're looking for revenue.
that's right. And
and who's the guy, the president, was that?
Jim Delaney,
No, I was president.
Sally Mason.
No, didn't he go to Rutgers?
Oh,
Wally Lowe.
What?
Wallace Lowe
Yeah.
was the,
No, I was thinking that maybe.
No, I know who you're thinking of.
you're thinking of.
The one that left just before Sally.
Oh,
The one everyone
James
likes so
Gordon.
well.
No, he went
Yeah.
to Cornell.
That's it,
Cornell,
Cornell, I'm
okay.
sorry.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots. Boy.
Wallace Lowe, who was our number 2 guy,
Mhm.
is the president at Rutgers, or at Maryland, rather.
Maryland, that's it.
That's it.
They've got a beautiful campus, by the way. I spent the summer '79 out there, and gorgeous campus.
I think both of those schools are very.
Yeah, a lot of tradition at Maryland, obviously at Rutgers too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to go the way of, I think, 4 super conferences, and everybody else is going to be begging for crumbs. It's going to be real interesting to see how it all develops. And like anything else, it's probably going to happen quickly. You know, the Rutgers and Maryland thing was boom, and there it was. So we'll see how it all turns out.
Yeah, what do you negotiate?
What do they negotiate?
Yeah, say that we're negotiating with Maryland. Does Maryland have certain things that they want?
They
Academics.
want $50 million. Which
Yeah,
is-
it's the money.
They signed a clause that says they'll pay the
That's right.
ACC.
And
that
they're
kind of-
gonna be,
But if they
going
leave,
nationwide, they'll be on
That's
TV
right.
every.
But like Pat said, Maryland's going to have to pay out to get out of the
I know
ACC.
but the Big Ten Network is the primary draw.
That's right.
That's
See, you know, this is the first year
Boy,
that I have it down there.
that what?
You have the Big Ten Network.
We
down
have
in
the big
Florida.
first year now there's a bar down the street, there would be about 50, 60 Iowa people would come down there for all the ball games, you know. Well, now you go down there, there's no Iowa people in there.
gotta
You
get
gotta go
home.
home and watch it on your own TV.
Yeah.
Beer's a lot cheaper at home.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's see here. So Iowa women on Sunday, 1 o'clock on the Big Ten Network at Nebraska. The men are Saturday at 2 o'clock. No, 1 o'clock. Both games are 1 o'clock on whatever network to be determined, if any. I want to mention the Iowa wrestlers. You mentioned Cornell. The Iowa wrestlers are going to be wrestling number 7, Cornell, Friday night, in the first round of the National Duels Wrestling Tournament up at Williams Arena in Minneapolis. Cornell's got a heck of a good wrestling team. And
Why have they moved the national duels back? It used to be earlier in the season.
well, there's a lot of politics, I know, that went into getting teams involved in the national duels. Now what they do is they take the top 8 teams and bring them to
They
the national
don't
duels.
decide till later
Right.
who goes?
Right. It's
Oh.
not. It's not like it used to be, where they would hope that so and so, Iowa, for example, when Iowa didn't go to the
Was it
national
last year
duels.
we didn't go?
Yeah, we didn't go last year, and it hurts the duels dramatically.
Yeah.
See, I think high school did the same thing.
They did.
They had theirs before
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, they had theirs the night before the state
Oh, was it
traditional
just the
tournament
night
began.
before? Okay.
Yes,
That's a
the
real
night before.
controversy still.
Yep, it sure
Oh, it
is.
is? Okay.
It is. If you've got a good team with a chance for a traditional team title, you're probably not going to put your guys out there in the
Okay.
national or in the dual
Well,
title.
this year they did.
There was a team that didn't.
Most teams did this year.
Yeah.
At least more teams did this year
Yeah.
than last year. And the contrary school of thought, they're people who don't want to wrestle in the state duels before the traditional championship starts.
Okay.
And we heard from Mark Ryland say he thinks it's fine. If they weren't in the duels, they'd be practicing hard anyway, and doesn't matter to him. He just
Yeah.
soon.
I still liked it when the duels were the week after the traditional state tournament. I don't know. It
You'll
gives more
find
life.
the older you get, the less you like change.
Well,
Right?
I still say change is good, but folding money's better. So the wrestlers, they ended the regular season last week with number 17 Edinburgh here in Carver Hawkeye Arena. Kind of anticlimactic because the state wrestling traditional tournament was on TV that same time, and just a real conflict of interest. I left the Hawkeye wrestling meet when the heavyweight match started because I wanted to get home and see Regina Senior Daniel Gaffey.
Junior.
He's a junior? That's great.
He's a junior.
That
He's
is
quite a football
great.
player.
Oh, he's quite a football player. Now,
He pinned his way to the title match.
he lost weight.
220. He's
Right,
220 pounds.
220, yeah. But he's 6'3",
Yeah.
and he's
He's a good wrestler.
very good.
Well, and
And,
You know
you
why?
know, they got a coach. Now, here's what a lot of people don't know. This Canellis,
Alex Canellis.
he does football, he does wrestling now, but the number one thing is the weight room.
Yeah.
Now he's got all the girls,
Yep.
Is that right?
all
Oh,
the
yeah.
girls.
Not
and
just
they
high
start
school.
in third
We're
and
talking
fourth
third grade.
That's right.
Third grade they
That's
started
right. And
out
he
there.
just loves all this stuff.
And
I
I'm
mean,
telling
it's
you,
just-
my son adores him.
Yeah, they all.
He's lost weight, hasn't he?
Huh?
Hasn't he lost
Oh,
weight?
he's lost
Yeah.
a ton.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight.
That's what I thought.
He looks great. Alex is
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it's
They
his
showed him
first
last
year
night.
as head coach at Regina for wrestling. It's not his first year at Regina, but this young man has done wonderful things
Well, this
for
is-
all these little
And
kids,
I
too.
hate to say this because I'm not a coach, and I know some people are going to say you're wrong. But this is why our girls were so tough the other night, because they've been in that weight room every day and every day.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference.
And-
My granddaughter, she's just as strong as a bull.
Yeah. Think about that. We didn't even have weight. We didn't have a
No, I
weight room when I
know,
was in high
that's
school, let alone girls. I
Is that
just
right?
think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I do too. This guy is something else. What I'm afraid of, he won't last long at Regina because somebody's going to come along and take this guy.
But he's going to lay a foundation should that happen. I think Alex is very happy at Regina.
Yeah, I do
he
too.
could move up and do better and do all that. But I think he's found a comfort zone there, much like Marv
Yeah.
Cook in football.
Well, see, Marvin and Dumont were lucky because their kids are all in school out there.
Right.
That
Right.
makes a big difference when their kids are all out there at school. They want to
does.
stay there.
Does Alex have children?
Who?
No,
Canellis?
No.
no, no.
No, that's why I say he could pick up and leave, where I think Marvin Dumont will stay there.
Well-
And they're at every sport event. I don't care if it's
Did you watch that wrestling title match
yes,
Saturday night?
Yes.
He's incredible. Daniel Gaffey has really turned his career around since last year
Canellis.
because of Canellis.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just the weight training and the conditioning. Alex Canellis got Daniel Gaffey involved in Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestling, and that involves a lot of upper body stuff, a lot of throws. Daniel Gaffey pinned his way to the state title match. He didn't pin his opponent in the championship match, but he controlled him with upper body, and you could just see, as you're watching it, you could just see the Greco-Roman training benefit him against this other kid who clearly didn't have that and was shooting. I mean, the other kid did his best, shot after shot, and Daniel knew how to handle it and often try to tilt him or
Yeah.
throw him. And he threw him quite a few times. Unfortunately, they were almost all out of bounds, but didn't matter. It was a very exciting match, and I was so glad I rushed home to see it. I sit for Hawkeye Wrestling, I sit right in front of the radio booth, and Luke Eustace was doing the broadcast with Steve and Grace, and I ran out of there, and I got in the car, and I turned on the radio, and Luke Eustace is criticizing it. Why is everybody leaving? And I felt kind of guilty, but then I thought, no, don't feel guilty. You're going home to see the state. I mean, I love the Iowa State wrestling tournament.
Everybody does.
Yeah,
It's
I think
just,
everyone.
it's so thrilling. And you have Mark Ironside and Dan Gable working it. No more Mark Allen. He got let go.
I know, and I
I
don't
like
believe
that
that at all. I didn't
don't like
either.
it at all. But Ironside and Gable did okay. Ironside, he butchers people's names, and but other than that, he predicted.
He's fun to listen to.
He
Yes.
is, and
He knows his stuff.
he's talking about a particular match and saying out loud what this kid needs to do next with that hold or this position, and boom, the kid does it. It's almost like he can predict the future, but that's how much he knows wrestling. And Gable, it's so second nature for him. It's really enjoyable to listen to him talk, especially high school wrestlers. So that was a lot of fun. What else is going on? I want to mention that former Hawkeye receivers coach Eric Campbell got a new job, along with former Hawkeye line coach Frank Verducci. They're both working for the Montreal
And Iowa City
Alouettes.
resident.
Yeah, he lives here.
See, he's got a girl on the,
Yes, Cammie.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's going to be real good.
isn't she?
What year in school
She's a
was she?
freshman.
Freshman.
Yeah, yeah.
She made a real good three-pointer that we needed in a hurry.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Well,
Where did his boy, who was the quarterback, go to school?
he's
Princeton.
at Princeton.
Princeton.
Yeah.
Doing real good, but he got hurt.
Did he play football?
Yeah, he was playing, and then he,
And he's gotten bigger.
yes.
Oh.
I
Yeah,
saw him over
I had a long
Christmas
talk
time
with him
somewhere.
at Christmas time.
Did you?
Probably
Well, he was
church.
out at one
Church.
of the
That's where I
Regina
saw him.
games.
Yeah, I saw him at church.
Yeah, he's
And he's a
fantastic kid.
he's a good kid.
Yeah.
We had him on the show.
Well, the girls are too, but I mean, I got to know him better than. But this little girl, I mean, she can fire that ball. See, that's another thing. This Canella makes these kids strong.
Yeah.
If nothing else, they're doing exercise, moving.
You know, Frank is an interesting story. relative to coaching as a lifelong love. I mean, he's held jobs that weren't directly in coaching, but he obviously loves it because he's now back into coaching offensive linemen.
I was glad to get out of Florida.
Was he?
He told me that, yeah.
Well, Montreal. That's a long way from Iowa City.
You know,
It's
you're,
like another country.
you're talking about wrestling. and Gable was on the
Oh, the high school tournament?
the show last
Oh,
Monday
on
night.
KCRG's,
Yeah, that's right.
whatever, from the field.
9.2.
Yeah.
And he mentioned wrestling is really affecting. He didn't say it, but he was talking about it. That's the same thing. But anyhow, it does get into politics
Oh, yeah.
with like Iran's is sort of an enemy now, and
And Russia.
Russia, and it brings all these big shots together, and they start talking, and
Be nice if it could lead to something like Richard Nixon's ping pong. What was that called? The ping pong debate or something? He invited, or no, did they invite our ping pong players over there? One of the two. I forget which. But wouldn't it be nice if it led to some kind of thaw? And
it has before, you
Yep.
know.
And it could again.
And I thought that was, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they hit that sort of hard to get them all unified.
I hope so. Hey, Joe, how we doing on time? We're going to hear about it.
About 16 minutes.
We've got 16 minutes to talk a little bit about high school basketball.
Okay.
You don't have fingers to signal that.
Yeah.
What?
He doesn't have enough fingers to signal 16. Joe says, oh, I got fingers. Last night we saw a pretty interesting game with West High and City High girls. Number 1 ranked City High had beaten West High twice already this season, and they played at Prairie in Cedar Rapids. And I'll be darned if West High didn't really blow them out.
Yeah, they did.
If you remember
quite a
the
bit.
last game, though,
It was close.
2 points.
Yeah.
And you know, it's anymore, especially in high school, and not so much, but it's hard to beat a team a third time.
They just the picture in the paper showed 4 West surrounding one
Yeah.
City High player.
First thing I saw when I opened the paper this morning.
Yeah, that's
Boy,
what-
that's defense.
Yes,
Yeah.
somebody's open.
Well, Allie Disterhoff stepped up. Future Hawkeye basketball player, scored 29 points last night. And
She's got a great game.
boy, she does.
She's got all the skills you want. And she was guarding 6'3" Haley Lorenzen.
Yeah,
Who turned down the Hawkeyes and is going to Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Do they get
I hope she regrets it.
or do you
So
know?
too.
Yeah.
Do they get crowds?
No.
Oh, I imagine.
For what, Earl?
City.
Florida high school?
Oh, no,
Okay.
Not for high school?
No.
Oh, you mean the Gators women's basketball team?
Yeah,
That's
no, they don't. Now, they get a little more better because they're getting up north,
Yes.
getting out of the ocean,
Yeah.
When
bums and,
I was listening to the Iowa women's basketball broadcast Sunday evening, and they were saying that Purdue averages 8,000 per home game
They had
for women.
9,000 and some there Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they do it. But of course, Iowa State is.
Yeah, Iowa
averages
State's right.
10,000.
Well, there's nothing else to do in Ames. But you'd think West Lafayette there might be something else to do, but I'm impressed. I think it's great.
Very impressive.
Yeah, we can't give too much credit to Ames.
Sunday was their pink game, and they were all decked out in
yeah,
pink,
I
too.
watched that one too.
Well, I noticed there were a lot of women's games in pink
Yeah.
all weekend.
But you know, getting back to West High, I'm predicting right now, West High girls and boys will be both championships.
Ooh.
I don't know. The girls, there's some other teams just as good or not better.
Well, I'm telling you, no
But
one's
here-
going to touch the boys. We know that.
No.
Here's some support for Bud's theory. Cedar Rapids, Washington, which was not much more than middle of the pack in the Mississippi Valley, made the state tournament and knocked off a ranked team from the CIML.
We're talking
last
girls?
night. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
knocked off Waukee, who was
Yeah.
ranked 5th in the state.
Yeah.
Well, there's good basketball, and good girls basketball, especially on this side of the state, and I know we're
Well,
all...
Iowa, it goes back, like we talk all the time, Iowa City has 3 great high schools.
We were talking about Haley Lorenzen, who turned down Iowa to, she's verbal, she hasn't signed anything yet because she's only a junior to go to Florida. But West's first game is against Mason City, which includes another young lady who turned down Iowa and committed to Iowa State by the name of Jada Buckley, who's their star player, point guard. So it'll be interesting to watch her and Hallie playing
See,
against each other.
and you know, I go back to this all the time. Mason City does not play in a conference like the Mississippi Valley.
No.
See,
No.
all these schools that, I mean, they
Do you know when that game is played?
yeah, it's Friday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh, is it Wednesday?
First round.
There's only 2 games, though.
No, they're 3. First quarterfinal 5A games are Wednesday night. Semis are Friday night, and the championship is Saturday. There are 8 teams in the tournament.
Right.
See, there's 40 in there. There's 5 classes this year.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and then...
Which has necessitated. I mean, the quarterfinal games of the 1A, or I guess it's 1A, start Monday morning in Des Moines.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
Regina's not till 8:30 Monday night. That
8:30.
is so bad.
Well, we're going to talk about Regina right now, but first I just want to say, feel bad for the City High girls. They had a great season. They finished 20-3.
They did have a good year.
Just a tremendous year. And the West High girls, they're 18-5 now, and they're going to play Wednesday night against Mason City. Do
No,
you
I'm
know-
not sure. I know it's Wednesday. I'm not positive
Wednesday,
it's
okay.
Wednesday night.
Okay. And then you got the Regina girls. And they took out, what were they, number 4?
Yeah.
North Lynn.
Northland.
And where was that game played? Was that at
West
West
High.
High?
West High, and I have to say, that athletic director over at West High is one of the nicest guys and runs a show over there and is so polite. He's nothing but fantastic. And I went and told him after the game.
Oh, that's great.
He seen the older people got to their seats. I mean,
Really?
just nothing, a fantastic individual.
Well, most everybody coming into that game was a stranger at West
Yeah.
High, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
great.
good to hear. Scott Kibbe, new athletic director, took Marv Ryland's place.
Okay.
Came from Cedar Rapids, Jefferson.
Okay.
Just started it
Just
as
a
their
great guy.
AD.
Just a great guy. He just
That's good
put
to
on
hear.
a real good show.
Wish I could have been there for that game. That must have been a humdinger.
It was.
So now, Regina, Monday night, 8:30 against a school I have never heard of, and I thought I'd heard them all.
Combined.
Lawton
Lawton.
Bronson, number 2 ranked Lawton Bronson with a 24-1 record, is going to take on Regina, who has a 19-4 record. That's interesting.
See, well,
Lawton's
see,
played
right
2
off
more
the go, I'm
games.
gonna tell you. I bet they did not play a class. Now, we played Cedar Rapids, Washington, a good game.
Who- but-
We played the girls.
Yeah, but they beat
Fairfield.
the tar out of the girls too.
Yeah, but not last year, we took them.
Yeah, I
But,
remember
so,
that.
I mean, you have to, but they played tougher teams.
That's right.
They played Washington, they played Fairfield, and all classes big, and sometimes, see, this is what I think happened in North Lynn. They just played all those little schools around there, Troy Mill and whatever it is.
Where is North Lynn? What?
It's spot right on the edge of Lynn County and Benton County, right on 13.
What's it? Yeah, but what town is it nearest?
Troy Mill,
Troy Mills.
yeah, that's where they have their track. And
I don't think I've ever been there.
it's a new one, fairly new,
Yeah.
you know.
North Lynn.
North Lynn.
Probably 2 towns together.
3, I think.
Well, I think yeah, probably a bunch. Is that? No, it's not Central City.
No, that's down the,
Farther north.
yeah, right. That's a,
Okay. Well, Bud, you've got a granddaughter on the Regina team.
Right.
Just one?
Yeah.
Now there's two Lehman girls.
Now
There's
we
one on the
do-
team.
Yeah, right. We do have 3 generations.
Right. I want you to talk about that.
I graduated from the state tournament in 56 and 57, burying my son-in-law.
Now, not from Regina, from St. Mary.
St. Mary's, right. Burying my son-in-law, graduated or played in 78 and 79 with Mark Gannon and that group,
Yeah.
and now Jordan.
That's great.
Yeah.
I was cheering for the other team.
What?
Well, you-
Oh, you mean when Bud played? Yeah. Oh, of course you were. Of course you were. Well, that's
I'm
pretty
going-
exciting.
Yeah.
My son wants to know if they get out of school Monday to go to the game. I said, game's at 8:30.
no, but I bet they get out. I bet if the parents write, if they come home, it'll be midnight or after before they get home.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you know, will that game be on TV, like 109?
I think just the last championship games.
Yeah, normally just the semifinals. and
Yeah.
Well, that's
finals are on.
broadcast TV. This
Well, you can-
109,
You can watch, no,
92.1.
if you
9.2.
go through the High School Athletic Association's
Yeah.
website, you can normally buy the early round games.
Yeah.
Well, this 92.1, when the girls won the state baseball tournament 2 years ago, they had all their games.
I watched that.
And it was 92,
9.2.
9.2.
They did for baseball and softball, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't think they haven't in the
No,
past
I
for
think because
basketball.
nobody else picks them up in
Right.
softball.
I just got an advertising package from a Des Moines station that is offering these early round games.
Oh, okay.
Just got that this morning. I haven't heard from the local folks.
On
in case-
video or television?
Television. And it's a CW network affiliate.
Oh,
How much does it cost?
Oh, it's cheap. It's
That's good.
It's like $10 an ad, I think, for the Des Moines market for that station. 109 on Mediacom cable is KCRG's high definition channel 9.2 over the air. I hope I'm not confusing everybody, but they had the state traditional wrestling tournament Saturday night. I was
Okay.
looking all over because
Yeah.
usually it's on Fox.
and it's been on Fox.
And
but
they
the last
had
2
a
years.
lot of high school basketball. this
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
historically, both boys and girls quarterfinals are long from sold out, so they
Right.
they haven't been anxious to put those games
No,
on
and
commercial television.
well, see, I don't think, now this is why Mark Allen did it for years, and this is why he got let
He
go.
did it really well.
Yeah.
I thought so.
I'm not sure he got let go as much as Fox got let go, or
No, he got let go. I
Fox
talked
didn't
to
get the
him.
Yeah,
bid.
he got
Did he
let
get?
go.
Yeah, he got let, well, because of these 92 point, so forth, and,
Well, that's part of it, I'm sure,
yeah.
but it was really the guy who owns the rights to
Oh,
telecast
okay,
it.
I see what you mean.
He just wasn't going to pay somebody any more than he wanted to. In spite of how well Mark had done over the years for football and basketball and wrestling, he's just so dynamic, and,
Right.
and I think it was really
And he was fair
stupid.
to everyone.
Oh yeah, and he showed no favoritism.
That's what I mean, it's just,
Whenever he did a Regina game or an Iowa City high school game, there, you didn't know he grew up here. In
I kept
Iowa
hoping
City.
he'd show favoritism.
Yeah.
But he never did. No, he was straight,
Yeah.
broadcasted it straight.
Well, these Regina girls, again, small team, a lot of freshmen and sophomores on the varsity. It's
Yeah,
what it
just
takes
two
just to fill a,
seniors.
yeah.
Who are the seniors?
well, he's Lehman, and then Fackler.
Megan
Megan Fackler.
Megan Fackler.
Now, there's some Iowa women's basketball influence here with both coach and assistant coach, is there not? Clark Anderson
Yeah,
was one of the managers for the Iowa women's team.
yeah,
didn't know
okay.
And there's a young woman who played.
Yeah, she's the assistant.
Tricia Vandeventer
Yeah, you're
is the
right.
assistant coach.
I didn't know
Right.
that. Dang.
Clark's a very,
the right
very
first
good
name,
guy. Now,
Commissioner?
Clark works in a
Sounds
law
right to me.
office in Cedar Rapids.
Sounds
does
right
he?
to me.
Yeah. But he's
Very, very nice young
very
man.
hard work, and then he's got the baseball coach that's taken Regina to the state tournament several years. He's
Baseball or
assistant.
softball?
Softball. He's an assistant.
Well, I hope a big Regina crowd makes it to Des Moines.
A little tip for these Regina people. This team beat one team 117 to 31.
Oh, my goodness.
So they know how to put it in the
Lawton Bronson. Where the heck is
Up
Lawton?
by
Is
Sioux
that
City.
Is that a
That's north-
town?
northwest.
That's two
Yeah.
towns,
Two towns.
Lawton and Bronson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of either one of them. I thought I'd heard
Lawton,
it
I have.
everywhere. Lawton. Have you sent flowers to Lawton?
I don't know. I suppose.
Have you delivered any goods to Lawton?
No.
Would you if somebody asked you to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For the right price.
Charged by the mile. Yeah, I don't deliver anything.
Lawton Bronson.
I go to Milwaukee about once a month for West Liberty Foods.
Well,
You go to where?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
land of the cheese. Now, West High boys, undefeated, 21-0. They're going to play tomorrow night, weather provided, against Cedar Rapids Prairie at Prairie, who's 6-16. We'll see if the weather turns out like they say it will. But in the meantime, we're out of time. And first off, I just want to thank Bud for coming in. Bud, I hope you're here next week, because that would mean Regina won,
Yeah, right.
and you're back. Pat's going to be back. Earl's going to be back. I'm going to be back. On behalf of all these guys, I'm Dirk Keller, thanking Pat, thanking Earl, thanking Bud, and especially Joe Murphy behind the camera. Tune in every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Channel 18, every Sunday night at 6 p.m. as well. Or you can go to patv.tv, and this is when Joe puts up the graphics that show the actual web address, patv.tv, or you can go to my Facebook and watch the show. There you go. Thanks, Joe. On behalf of all these guys here, thanks again for watching. And remember, either you're a Hawk or you're not. Go Hawks. Beat the Huskers.